my last attempt that I made, we just got booted off, and our internet is super wonky, so I can never tell things are working. Like the laptop is not catching up. Oh, the jungle. So, how are you guys doing? Okay, here we go. Now I just want to see how this camera is. Yeah, all I get is one of those Ouroboros things spinning around and around. So I can't remember what I was talking about when I got cut off earlier. Um, I know a couple of you guys jumped on the music live stream for a second. And what I've determined about that is that we have the. Okay, well that's fine. And what I've determined about that is that we have the, the mic way too close to the guitar amp, but I think we can make that actually sound okay. So I'm happy that we're maybe able to do music live streams a little bit better. So so yeah, we've moved out of the jungle. I think we covered that in the first part tonight. It's beautiful and amazing here. If you've never been to the Amazon rainforest, I mean, it's it's the most amazing place on earth. I would imagine that there may be places that are comparable, but it truly is extraordinary just to go out and walk around and see all the different, there's surprises at every turn. Um, the bugs here aren't really as bad as you would expect, but now that we're deeper into the jungle, maybe because there's more standing water, there's definitely a lot more sand flies. Uh, Man, I'm so hoarse. Hopefully, I'll be better soon, you guys. I mean, I'm sure you've noticed I haven't been putting out a lot of videos, but I just don't even feel well enough to edit really. Although, I have started working in earnest on an Aleister Crowley um, sort of. It's. I'm gonna do two of them. I'm gonna do it. The first part is like the teachings, like the message, basically, and then I'm gonna do another one that's kind of like the Timothy Leary video I did, where it's like just quotes with like psychedelic visuals, probably by well, that's rude. I can't remember the name. Taz visuals. Man, that's fucked up. I can't remember the name of the. Anyways, they're really good. These guys did a great job, and I found one that they've made that is kind of dark and has like Ouroboroses and all-seeing eyes and stuff. So it's really good. I'm really excited about the new Coley videos. So keep your eyes out for those. Also, the ritual magic stuff for the Patreon is some of it is complete. Our internet is insane, and I can't access like most sites right now. I have no idea how that. Like we thought we were out of data or something, but obviously I'm live streaming, so I don't understand what's going on. There's something up at the server, so I'm just really unable to upload stuff anyways. But the ritual magic stuff is definitely going to go on the Patreon, even if we have to go out somewhere and just find a better internet connection. So you can check that stuff out there. The Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram and how to use tobacco prior to your rituals. And I started to talk about this. I don't really have a ton to say about it at the moment, but and it feels ridiculous. It's really silly. And again, I know I'm kind of repeating some things from earlier, but I just noticed when I jumped on for the music, there were a couple of you guys that missed the one earlier, so I might be rehashing a little bit. But I've been trying to develop the capacity to articulate the details of this San Pedro vision. But it's not just that. It's definitely an idea that has been crystallizing in my mind, regardless of San Pedro, for a very long time. And it's not like it's anything unique to me, it's this idea that like light either creates consciousness or something along those like it's consciousness is a property of light. I think that's the way that I could say it that I'm the happiest with. And of course, this is an idea that you'll find all throughout all kinds of ancient teachings, and I think it's really self-evident. What else could it be? So, over the years, I've had all these experiences that have convinced me that our consciousness does have some capacity to create our experience to a degree that is it sort of transcends the causality, the plane of causality or whatever. There's something, some kind of intelligence imbued in the fabric of creation that our will is able to interact with. And I can't conclude that entirely, because it's also possible that these experiences were put there by a higher power well in advance. That's the other possibility that I've had to reckon with. The synchronicities that I've experienced, I guess, are too much, too improbable, too concise. What is another word that is better? It's like poignant. The timing too serendipitous for me to dismiss as outright coincidence. And so trying to apply at least a pseudoscientific approach to trying to determine how these things are possible and what causes them. And so either we are able to influence reality with our subconscious mind or even our conscious mind to some extent, or there is some kind of higher being that has designed the entirety of creation with these little signs and symbols. And I was thinking about how that would have to work, and basically like the entirety of creation, everything that was ever going to happen, would have had to have been conceived, I think, at the moment of creation, in order for these synchronicities to be integrated into the design of the thing. So, for example, one of the first really crazy synchronicities I experienced involved a physical item, right? It was a ruler that had 2 11s printed on it. And we hadn't gone yet, but in a week or so we were going to get called to this meeting with these Native Americans that had this message about interdimensional beings and aliens, and 1111 was a big part of their thing, right? And over time it would develop even more significance for me for other reasons that are totally unrelated to that meeting, which is like, it's like this idea that something had precognized, something other than me had given me this initial synchronicity with foreknowledge that it would snowball and acquire more and more meaning and depth and relevance. It's really difficult to dismiss everything that came after as coincidence. It's just and it came from disparate places. First it was the ruler, and then it was the Native Americans, and then Aleister Crowley and all of that stuff. And of course, there's I just thought Dakota Wint had this 1111 just kind of stuck to the end of one of his titles the other day. It's a thing that a lot of people have noticed now, I guess. But this was a long time ago that I started to become aware of this. And the message basically that there was this emergent consciousness, and that one of the signifiers of it is this 1111. It really sort of gives me a validation that I experienced this so long before it became like this tidal wave of people that have developed some kind of awareness that there's something going on with that. And so, um, one aspect of it, I guess, that I felt like I had unraveled, because there's always some mechanistic thing behind anything that we experience. Some kind of mechanism of manifestation, um, and so I it took me a really long time to understand what is it about 1111, like what the hell is that, and what I came up with eventually was that it had something to do with the symmetry that uh, is a ubiquitous characteristic of order. Order is totally an expression of symmetry, or it's I mean, obviously not everything with order is totally symmetrical, but I guess what I'm saying is that symmetry is a fundamental constituent of order. Um, all of the patterns in um, um, even the seasons and the astronomical patterns, all of this stuff is a form of symmetry. So it's not just symmetry in physical form, in nature, in leaves and people's faces and crystals and all of these things. There's symmetry in time, and it's this like feature of everything that has order, and this connection between synchronicities and the number 1111. Finally, it kind of hit me that it's symmetry. It's a symbol of symmetry, and of course, there's more to it than that. The four individual constituents of the two numbers. You could, it's like the tetragrammaton. The four elements, the individual constituents that make up the larger whole. Um, and when they're together, they're an entity, I guess you could say, but their individuality as ones is never diminished or um, overturned. In the same way that I've been talking about recent streams, and how carbon, a molecule of carbon, may pass through all of these different forms throughout the course of its incarnations, in the same way that a soul would, and yet remains fundamentally unchanged. So there's a lot of layers to this symbolism of 1111. And this idea of symmetry, but I didn't have a mechanism for how it is that consciousness actually, the force that it works through to compel this chaotic energy to order. And the other day I realized that it was electromagnetism. And so I'm not going to talk too much about that, because I haven't had time to really think it through, and it's been a long time since I've studied that kind of thing. So over the next week or so, I'm really going to dive deep into everything that I can, so that I can actually continue to develop my understanding of all of this. But it was really good to feel like I made some kind of progress, even though I think that was just so stupid, like to not. I mean, that should have been the first thing that obviously. So I felt kind of silly, even though I was glad that I put it together. But speaking of symmetry and consciousness and synchronicities, a few minutes after this occurred to me, I just happened to go onto TikTok, and there's this guy, I can't remember his name, he's African American, he's been a commentator or a host on like the Discovery Channel and a bunch of documentaries and stuff. He's a musician, and he talks more like his subject matter is closer to my own than anyone else that I'm aware of. We talk about all the exact same stuff from almost the exact same point of view. And he had just, his video was about how electromagnetism was it wasn't exactly the same thing that it's this property of light and consciousness that compels everything to order, that it's the actual. And in a way, it doesn't really get us anywhere because it still doesn't really answer the mechanistic aspect of the riddle as completely as I would like. But I feel like it's a significant step in that direction. So that's mostly why I came on. My partner was in the shower, and I felt like I didn't really explain that as thoroughly as what's up, Fernando? As I would have liked in the first part of the live stream today. But we're gonna go up on the porch and sit in the nice, cool jungle air and get eaten by fucking sandflies and have some homemade granola and yogurt. My health is still concerning. Some of you guys have asked. But I've discovered tramadol, which actually is kind of helpful, although there's no answer. It just allows me to regain some function to an extent. But what I really need to be doing out here, I think, is ayahuasca, and I cannot take it if I've been taking tramadol, so probably not going to continue to do that. But today, that's why I was playing music. And I've been streaming partly because I felt somewhat human again, because I discovered that unlike in the United States, you can buy tramadol over the counter here. But I don't advise ever taking anything like that. It's just that after a couple of years of getting more and more progressively ill, I need a fucking break, man. I'm going to end up at the end of a rope if I don't get some kind of respite occasionally, I guess. Opium poppies would be a better, and it's looking like I have Lyme disease. I'm thinking that's got to be what's going on. It's like the only thing that would make you this miserable for this long without killing you. And I lived in a place where some of the doctors say that up to 90% of the people there have Lyme disease. Extremely difficult and expensive to treat if you don't have it treated in the first 30 days. So I probably have a pretty significant battle ahead of me. It's definitely getting rapidly worse, and it's in case you don't know how it works, it's not really a bacteria exactly. Maybe they're a type, but they're called spirochetes, and they're like little microorganisms that drill through bone and soft tissue and through your brain. And so it's, people are prescribed fentanyl, the strongest painkillers on earth to deal with the pain, and you kind of go insane. It really affects your mind. It would explain why, if you watch some of my older videos, I'm able to talk for 30 minutes, 40 minutes sometimes, with no script, almost no edits, totally just lucid, and that's just not the case anymore. So I'm gonna see what ayahuasca has to say about this, because it's been about a year, I think, since I've drank ayahuasca, and so I'm gonna try to set a date, and I guess it's scary because I don't feel well, and I know it's going to be very, very difficult because ayahuasca I don't like the way it makes me feel anyways. So physically, so I know that it's going to be difficult, but I have to do it. Whatever this is, I have to get it out, and I think that a lot of Lyme disease patients actually say that they've been helped by ayahuasca, and honestly, I felt a lot better every time I drank it almost. But I don't know that it's a cure for Lyme disease. Supposedly, if you drink it like almost every day for a month, it will cure it, actually. Yeah, Fernando, I don't think, oh, okay, tramadol is a mild opiate, because I kind of do feel dopey or something, and so when I was trying to sing earlier, the graveliness in my throat is something that I remember from no, I'm not going to continue to take it a lot. Maybe one more day tomorrow, so I can kind of get caught up. And then I'm going to just flush my system and drink ayahuasca for a week or something, and see what I can do. Yeah, Fernando, I'm not really worried about it. I think it'll strengthen me. I'll know what to do. I mean, I'm pretty in tune with that. Um, so, you know, it'll guide me, and I may drink a few times without any choiponga, so it'll be just the vine, um, which is, you know, purgative, um, and hopefully clear some stuff. So I obviously I have to go because I'm losing focus. So thanks for spending some time with me again, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. And if you're part of the Patreon community, I'll definitely get the ritual magic stuff up soon. I was going to do that at a higher tier, but so many of you guys have been there for so long. I'm just going to put it at the $10 tier so that everyone can have access to it. So thanks a lot, you guys, and good night. I'll see you again soon.